Morning, everyone. How's everyone doing this beautiful Valentine's Day morning? Happy Valentine's Day to you too. So really quickly, I'll give you a very quick spiel, just a little bit about me and my agency. So we have a comms agency across London and Dubai. We worked with impact-driven brands, which I will tell you what that means in a little bit more detail. We have a mix of hospitality, lifestyle, fashion, a bit of everything really, which is quite exciting. We look after, PR, social media, marketing as a whole, working with brands to create the identity to help them build a business, essentially. Just a couple of brands that we've worked with, obviously quite broad, everything from your Vita Cocos and Novikov to Skin Laundry and Deliveroo. So a nice little mix in there. So let's get down to business. Purpose. Can anyone tell me what purpose is before I go into too much detail? Okay, so the way that I think about purpose for a business is kind of like the foundation to a house or a conductor to an orchestra. It's pivotal and it's one of the first things that you should think about with your business. But it's okay if you haven't thought about that yet. It's something that you can revisit over and over and over again, but it's something that should be thought about as your foundation. A lot of people think about purpose as can be a little bit daunting. It can be a bit scary, a little bit overwhelming. A lot of people think that you think purpose, it straight away we have to be fully carbon neutral, we have to be vegan, we have to be completely ethical, but that's not the case. It's about making little strives and honest changes that resonate with you as a consumer, you as a business owner, and you as a brand. So a couple of numbers and stats just to kind of get us started. So 53% of consumers are buying goods and services from companies that reflect their values and personal beliefs. I don't know about you, but there are quite a few brands that I'll touch on today in this session as well that I truly believe and I feel understand, and we know we have the same kind of values. I'll let you guys take a little picture rather than going through this because I know we're slightly pressed on time as well. I'm seeing this more and more prevalent with kind of Gen Zs and millennials. The older demographic are slightly taking a little bit more time to kind of adopt to this kind of mindset. But I'm sure you guys will agree, the next generation are, they're more critical of the way that we're living our lives. They're more aware of what's going on around us. They want to live better lives for the next generation. So what is a purpose-led brand? But before we go any further, if anyone's been to any of my talks before, I like to get people moving a little bit. So can I ask everyone to stand up? Just everyone, just stand up where you are. So some of you might have your own businesses, some of you might be self-employed, some of you might freelance, some of you might work for someone else, some of you might be students. But what I'd like to do is I'd like you to stay standing if there is a cause or if there is something that you're passionate about. That could be, I'm a dog person, so I love dogs. So it could be, welfare of dogs. It could be fair trade. It could be anything. So stay standing if you have a cause that's quite important to you and that you're passionate about. You don't have to donate. You don't have to do anything in particular. But if there is something that resonates quite strongly with you. Okay, everyone's still standing. This is good. Okay, so sit down if where you work currently doesn't embody or doesn't implement a strategy that resonates personally with your beliefs or have their own causes. So a couple are sitting. That's actually a better 10 up than I thought. Okay, a little bit more. That's okay. Okay, actually a lot standing. I'm quite happy about this. This is good. Stay standing if the cause or purpose that the brand or business that you work with or that you've set up resonates personally with you and you feel like you are playing an active role in making a difference. Oh, okay, I see a few spaces. I've done this once before and there was only like 1 or 2 people left, so this is good. And for the people standing up, I'm really hoping I'm going to be right here. Do you guys love your jobs? Do you wake up in the morning and you feel like it doesn't feel as much like a job, it feels like I'm making a difference to what I'm doing in my life and I have a purpose personally. Oh. Okay, we've still got some sitting. Okay, so this is great, so the purpose of this session and the purpose of finding your purpose is to help more of you stay standing up, essentially, towards the end. Thank you, ladies. Have a seat. So how do we do this? Now, a lot of you may have heard of the UN SDG goals. There are 17 different goals. Now, businesses vary. Some look at addressing all 17. Some address one or two. I'm not going to go through each of these as well, but I would say have a look online, do your research and understand. These range from poverty to equal pay and end hunger, etc., etc. So again, not all businesses will look at every single one, but some businesses will identify with all 17 and make their own efforts to align with these UN SDG goals, which again is providing more and more understanding kind of globally. But let's break this down a little bit further. So step one, obviously, is understanding what your purpose is. Now, for a lot of you that sat down quite early on, you all had your personal purpose that you're interested in, right? So it could be anything from, I keep saying dogs because I am a big dog person, but it could be around animals, it could be around children, it could be anything. So the first step, obviously, is finding that impact, that purpose. Purpose drives impact. Step one. How do you create that impact? That comes down to three main sections. Your people, so making sure that your staff, that's the first step. Making sure your team, your staff, your consumers understand what that purpose is, making sure they understand and they buy into it personally. Because once you as individuals, as staff, or as founding members of a business will identify with that purpose, you will embody it, you will carry it around, and that will inspire you day to day. You know, with my business, like I wake up in the morning, and because I feel a certain way about the brands that we work with, and I know they are striving for better change, I want to wake up in the morning and I have, weird dreams that I'm like, oh my God, we could do this crazy idea. And then the team are like, calm down, Khyara, let's just take it one step at a time. It's then putting that into strategy. So whether it's your marketing strategy, whether it's your sales strategy, implementing that purpose into that. And then obviously execution. That being said, it's not linear. It's not a one-time exercise that you can do. It's cyclical. So it's something that should look a little bit more like this. So take a picture of this if you'd like, because it's something that I would say, a lot of businesses, they might have a CSR person that might be looking at something like this, but I don't think that's necessary. Again, you all have causes and purposes that are important to you. So go to your business owner, go to your marketing director and say to them, I'm really passionate about this, and I think there's a way that we can bring that into what we do in order to make a difference. Because more often than not, that's not only you showing that you're passionate about where you work, it's showing personal interest as well. So it'll also look great on you. I will leave some time for questions at the end as well. So we'll look very quickly at a couple of brands. I think I've got 3 in here. I'm going to play a little guessing game, see if you can recognize what they are. Personal ones that are my favorite and I think do a really great job in being purpose-led first. Can anyone guess which one this is? Again, these are not any of our clients or anything. These are just brands that I think are doing a great job. Any guesses? Yes. Yes. So it's Pangea. So Pangea do a great job. They actually, so I don't know if you guys have seen, but each of their colors, I think they've got 7 colors, represent a different one of the UN SDG goals and goals that they identify with. So have a look. Again, it's a great example of how they've taken purpose, put that at the forefront of the business, and created a strategy around that. Obviously, the name is up there, so I'm not going to ask anyone to guess this. But Cheeky Panda are a toilet roll brand that is made out of like bamboo, basically. Again, it's sustainable from the startup. It's eco-friendly, obviously, and it's one that's had, the name goes with the vibe, goes with the aesthetic, goes with the marketing. So they've literally built their marketing strategy around their purpose. One more. Any guesses? Patagonia, for anyone that wasn't sure. One of my favorites, so it's a bit more of a, if anyone likes to go hiking or lives quite an active life, you might know this one. They do a great job, obviously, in the States. Another one definitely to have a look at. This one is a local one, so a little bit smaller, but one of my personal favorites. During lockdown, grew really, really big. Athleisure wear brand, an influencer became quite big, started a workout during lockdown. Yes, Tala. I wonder if there's anyone from Tala here. Big favorite of mine. I think she does such a great job, not only in looking at the sustainability side of things, but also inclusivity, being more transparent with consumers. I'm obsessed with their social media. It's one of the ones that I talk about so much with our clients. I had the privilege of working with them a couple years ago and doing a collaboration with one of the gyms that we worked with. But again, they live and breathe everything they do. So the collaboration that we did was with a carbon neutral drone, which was obviously really nice. So let's go back into how you implement that into your strategy in terms of marketing. So a lot of us, obviously, social media is probably one of the most cost-effective forms of marketing for our businesses and for the businesses that you probably work with. So the three main pillars that I would say to look at when it comes to taking purpose and putting that into your business. The first is obviously content. Now, content is king, and I'm sure there's been other talks over this kind of last few days where you're looking at social content, whether that's reels, lives, etc. But I would also encourage you to look at, real content, as in real people, real reviews, whether that is a real consumer and looking at UGC, or whether that's sending out product to some of your top consumers rather than working with just influencers. It's honest feedback. It's looking at cross collaborations with organizations, with different charities, for example, that you might work with. Whether it's events, whether it's experiences, or whether it's real life examples, your content is the first and probably the most cost-effective way to bring your purpose into your marketing strategy. The next is community. So looking at brand affiliations, organizations, and government support that you can work with. So these are a couple that you'll probably see quite a lot in a lot of purpose-led businesses, whether that is a B Corp certification, whether that's positive luxury, whether that's 1% for the planet, One Tree Planted, ESG mark, or ecology. There are so many. I would say do your research. Every single one is different. And find one that resonates well with your brand and your business and what you're doing. Because, it doesn't make sense to have, for something like One Tree Planted, for a business that, is doing diaries unless you're completely, do you see what I mean? So finding one that resonates quite well. There's a couple on here that are quite nice that actually a percentage of every sale will then go back into like a pot basically, and then you can choose which charity you work with, and then it's donated. And then they can have live clickers and countdowns that go on your website, for example. You can then share that kind of information on your socials, but creating that community is really, really important. Also, a part of community is obviously finding conversations that you can use on social media. So whether that's looking at hashtags that are relevant to your purpose and to your kind of topic, and engaging in those conversations and having a conversation. I'm sure anyone else that's talked to you about social media will tell you engaging in conversations is the best way to increase your reach. But it's the best way to also increase your purpose and your impact, and building that kind of brand and consumer buy-in as well. That leads me on to opinions. So having an opinion. So this is probably telling my age, but when I first started in social media, I was a social media manager many years ago, and it was very much one of the first things that we were told was no opinions. It was no opinions. So nothing in terms of race, nothing in terms of politics. Everything had to be super neutral. But we live in a completely different age now. So finding out what the opinions of your business are and embodying them, once agreed, obviously, if you're representing your business, then making sure that your business buys into the same ones is really important. So again, finding those kind of organic conversations, creating reactive content. So for example, It could be a new legislation that happened. It could be, Greta Thunberg has just done a new demonstration. So whether it's sharing things like this and creating new conversations and showing that you stand for these values as well, this resonates with you and you also buy into it. This is how you then create a brand community around your brand rather than just being a follower. Hands up here, everyone on Instagram? Yeah, thought so. Who here shares something that, for example, if there's been like the earthquakes recently, right? Devastating. But the earthquakes, obviously, in Turkey, who shared something that there was an option to donate, or there was somewhere to donate clothing, etc., like this. A few of you, okay. But this is again an opportunity for the brands and the businesses that you work with also to have a voice and also to be part of this. So I encouraged every single one of our clients, whether we were contributing directly or we were sharing opportunities for businesses to be involved. We had every single one of them take part. And also looking at trending topics as well. It's a great way, again, going back to reach on social media. So, in summary, the first point that I would recommend, obviously, is real content. Find what you believe in personally, take that to your business and to the brands that you work with and see how you can make that work. Obviously, try and find something that works quite well in terms of synergy with your brand, the brand vision and the business that you work with. But the more authentic it is and the more that you personally buy into it, that translates into what you're doing and what will come out of it. To interact with your community members. LinkedIn as well is an amazing platform to have a voice, to have an opinion, and to bring your purpose out there. So utilize that. I'm sure a lot of us, hopefully, are on LinkedIn. We follow, your Stephen Bartlett's and tons of other entrepreneurs. But, there's so much opportunity in there to have a personal voice about a cause that you can be passionate about and that you can bring forward with the business that you work with as well. Using trending hashtags and jumping on trends, obviously, this goes hand in hand with probably what anyone in social media will say, but it is pivotal to make sure that you are capitalizing on this. And then 4, find and work with the right existing platforms and organizations to identify with. So whether it is some of the ones that I mentioned, whether it is with a cause, a charity, or an organization directly, when I first started the business, I had spent some time at a refugee school in Greece, and we sent donations directly to them. So we didn't work with a third party. We went directly to them, and donations went straight to them, and a percentage of every retainer went straight to them. So it doesn't have to go through some of these bigger known organizations. It can go direct. So for example, going back to the dog example, I adopted my dog through All Dogs Matter. It could be, you might have a pet wear brand, and so a percentage of profits could go straight to All Dogs Matter, for example. But finding the right purpose and finding the right organization to identify with will be key. And there we go. I will keep us open for a couple of questions. We've got about 4 minutes. Any questions? Okay. Thank you, guys. I'll be around.